Hey guys, what's up? This is Mystical from Halo4U.com, bringing you guys another video tutorial on recording your gameplay. This tutorial is set to help you discover how to choose the best rendering settings for Sony Vegas. The first thing you want to do is take your video file. You can see I already have one here that I recorded of Borderlands 2. It's a minute long, 114 megabytes. You want to drag that into Sony Vegas, either by doing it the way I just did it, or if you already have Sony Vegas open. I know some people like to drop it into their project list first, whatever, but I normally just drag the video right onto Sony Vegas. And once Vegas loads, any second now, it'll ask you normally, do you want to set your project video settings to match this media? I always click no because I have a custom project video property set up. So let's go ahead and look at that first. You can, after you load your video, you can click here on project video properties, and you can see here I have the YouTube HD frame. I chose the HD I chose one of these HDs. I forget exactly which one. I believe this one. But you choose one, it doesn't really matter because you're going to change all the settings. But then you want to choose, after you choose a setting to go off of, you're going to change your width, make sure it's 1920 by 1080. Or if you're recording in 720, you can change it to that. It doesn't really matter in terms of that. For field order, you want to have none, progressive scan, at a 1.000 square. You want output at 0 degrees, frame rate at 29.97, which is NTSC. Some people do like to do it in 60, which is double NTSC. In the Hauppauge HD PVR2, it only records 1080p in 30 frames per second, whereas the older editions did record in 60 frames, so you could do that. But in 1080p, it's not going to help you to increase that, so just go with the 29.970, the NTSC format. Pixel format. A couple people change this. I've seen some videos where they change this and they want to change it to 32-bit, which is supposed to give you better colors. Let me apply it, and you can see here in the video what it does, or 32. You can see it kind of oversaturated if you go full range. So if you do go to 32-bit, you want to leave it at video levels. However, it increases the rendering time quite a bit, and I don't notice the difference really. The rendering settings that I have, that it does anything good. So I leave it at 8-bit. The full resolution you want to have set at best, however. Motion blur type you want to leave at Gaussian. De-interlace method, you want to make sure there's none. This is important. Adjust source media to better match project or render settings. You can check that. And then you can check start all new project with these settings. In audio, you want to have stereo. If you are recording in 5.1, you can select that, but most people do it in stereo. Bit depth 16. Resample and stretch quality you want, again, best. Okay, and the rest of the stuff will all stay normal. And like I said, make sure if you want it to start all new project with these settings, just click this, hit apply, and OK. And that's your project settings. So then when you enter in Sony Vegas and it asks you if you want to match the video, you can just select no, and it'll instead use those settings that you created. The second thing that you're going to want to do is click anywhere on your video, doesn't matter where. You're going to want to right click it and go down to properties here. Click that, and you're going to come up with the properties of the video, and you're going to want to uncheck smart resample and go to disable resample. The reason for this is that if you use the smart resample or forced resample, it can cause a lot of your videos to get blurry when there's a lot of movement. It's already great quality that you recorded from using your capture device most likely, so there's no need to resample it. So go to disable resample, click OK. Then if you go, after you're done with your video doing all your editing stuff, on this one I don't need to do any of that, just for the tutorial. When you go to the file, you're going to go to render as, and you'll come up with a bunch of templates. And the one that I started with was here under main concept AVC. It's the .mp4. I selected Internet HD 1080p and then hit Customize Template. I'm going to go to the YouTube because that is my customized template, which you can save the name by just, after you change the Internet HD 1080p, after you change the format, you can just type in a new title in here. I call mine YouTube HD and then you can just hit the save button and it'll save it as that. But we're going to go to YouTube HD and show you all my settings. So here, frame size, you have HD 1080, okay? And then for profile main, for frame rate, again, you're using the NTSC frame rate. Allow source to adjust frame rate. Field order, you want none, progressive scan. Pixel ratio at 1. And then here, there's two different options. It kind of goes by personal preference. Some people choose constant bitrate and have it at 14. That's the highest bitrate that the Hauppauge HD PVR2 records at, is 14 megabytes per second. So here on constant bitrate, you select 14. I use, however, variable. What this does is it goes and decides how much frames per second to use at different parts. If you do want to use the variable, the reason I use it is it does an average of 12 megabytes per second, a maximum of 24 megabytes per second. But you need to do 2-pass. It's important that you check 2-pass if you're going to use variable bitrate. The reason for using variable bitrate is it will decrease the file size some at the cost of a little bit of quality. However, if you do the 2-pass section, then what it does is it goes through the video 2 separate times. The first time just checking to see what the frame rate should be so that you get the best quality. And I've found that if I do this variable bitrate, I actually do get a little bit better quality than using a constant bitrate, especially in movement scenes, because it can go up to a max of 24 megabytes per second. In code mode, this is dependent on whether or not how good your computer is. If you have, like on my computer, I have a AMD, I have a 8-core processor, 3.1 gigahertz, maximum of 4 gigahertz. It has a special technology thing or whatever. So I render using my CPU only. I do have a graphics card, an ATI Radeon 5450, I believe, or 5550. I believe it's a 5450, and it does have OpenCL. However, after doing tests, taking like a minute clip and rendering with it, it actually takes longer for me to use the graphic card's OpenCL because the graphics card isn't that great of a graphics card. If your graphics card, mine does not support CUDA. If yours supports CUDA or OpenCL, definitely check and see if it's faster to render using those methods versus using your CPU only. You can go to System and click Check GPU, and it'll tell you which one you're able to use with your graphics card. So I clicked the Check GPU and it says OpenCL is available. However, as I said, after using the OpenCL, my CPU just did a faster job since I have 8 cores at 3.1 gigahertz. So I just render using my CPU. In the audio section, you want to go to a sample rate of 48 kilohertz or hertz at a bit rate of 192 kilobytes per second. And then at system, you can choose the format, which we're doing an MP4 file format. And under project, you want to make sure the video rendering quality, you're going to change this to best, and the rest you can leave normal. After you do all that, again, you can give it a name. I called mine YouTube HD, and hit the save button. It'll save that template for you, so you can just select that. And then from then on, whenever you go into File, Render As, and after you create it, if you click this little star icon, then all you do from then on is just click this Show Favorites Only. Click that, and then you can hit the render button. It'll start rendering the software or the video for you. As you can see here, it goes pretty quick. This is only a minute clip. It takes about 3 minutes and 30 seconds to render per minute for me. If you have a better graphics card, it could increase for you. However, after doing tons of tests and messing around with tons of color settings and adjustments and brightnesses and things like that, I found that it's just better to leave all that stuff normal. If you do need to change your brightness settings and you have to do that on every single video, then your best option would instead be to change the actual settings on the Hauppauge so that you can adjust the levels of your contrast and your brightness and everything right from the device itself. That way when it records, it's at a better setting for you instead of having to do that for every single video. Most of the other video tutorials out there that I've seen and looked at, when I've messed with them, they actually make the videos look worse, and the filters that Sony Vegas use tend to, at least in my case, after the experiments I've done, decreases the actual video quality. So that's why I don't like using the filters if I don't have to. So there you have it. That's the best rendering settings that I've found when using Sony Vegas for rendering my gameplay videos with my hotpog. If you don't have a hotpog, these settings still work with anything else, and are still the best settings to use in my opinion. So definitely try them out. I guarantee you'll love it. And leave a comment below if you have any other suggestions or anything. But I've pretty much seen them all, pretty much tried them all, and these are the best settings I've come up with. Alright guys, so that's it for this video tutorial. If the video helped you out, please make sure you like the video. It helps us out and allows us to continue making these video tutorials for you guys. Also, if you enjoyed the video, make sure that you subscribe to our channel, as we will be releasing other video tutorials explaining how to record your gameplay, getting the best quality out of your gameplay, hooking up devices, things like that. We do have other capture cards that we use and stuff, so I'm sure we're going to be coming out with other video tutorials on other capture cards. So again, just make sure you subscribe. That way you guys are able to see everything that we're doing and get the latest updates sent right to you. Alright, you guys have a good one. This is Mystical. Until I see you guys in game.